Welcome to Resource PNG. Oil Search has released its quarterly report to June 2015. The report, released to the Port Moresby Stock Exchange, has highlighted some key activities. Whilst the drop in world oil prices has continued to play a big part in the financial performance of the company, there are also opportunities that the company has identified that may enhance its performance. Among these opportunities is the development of additional LNG projects, beginning with the Elk-Antelope project in Gulf Province. In 2015, low world oil prices have continued to affect the operations of oil producers. And in PNG, it is no different. Oil Search Limited, one of the country's major employers, has released its second quarter results to the market. According to Oil Search Managing Director Peter Botten, there have been challenges faced in the second quarter, which the company has managed to deal with without adversely affecting its operations. Total production in the second quarter of 2015 was 7.41 million barrels of oil equivalent, 7% higher than the previous quarter and the highest quarterly production in Oil Search's history. The PNG LNG project contributed 5.67 million barrels of oil equivalent, while production from the base PNG oil and gas business was 1.74 million barrels of oil equivalent. Based on the strong performance in the first half, the company has upgraded its 2015 production forecast range from 26 to 28 million barrels of oil equivalent to 27 to 29 million barrels of oil equivalent. Total revenue for the quarter was $391.5 million compared to $472.3 million in the first quarter of 2015. The average realized LNG and gas price was 35% lower than in the first quarter, while the average realized oil and condensate price was 20.3% higher than in the first quarter. This brought total revenue for the first half of 2015 to $863.8 million compared to $510.0 million in the first half of 2014. There has also been progress towards the Elk-Antelope project, which is being led by Total SA. During the quarter, a production test of the Antelope 5 appraisal well in PRL 15 took place. Preliminary interpretation of the test results is encouraging and confirms the existence of a substantial resource base with the best quality reservoir seen to date in the field. Preparations to sidetrack the Antelope 4 appraisal well progressed during the quarter, with drilling expected to commence in August. Shortly after the end of the quarter, a major milestone was reached when the PRL 15 joint venture, led by Total SA, selected the locations of key infrastructure sites for the potential future development of the Elk-Antelope gas field. The LNG plant site is to be located at Caution Bay, adjacent to the current PNG LNG plant site. This, according to Oil Search, will maximize the opportunity to pursue any potential synergies with the PNG LNG project. The development has been named the Papua LNG project. Oil Search continues to work closely with the PNG government and power agencies to provide sustainable power solutions to PNG. In addition to the first deliveries of electricity from the PNG LNG project to Port Moresby in April, the first phase of Oil Search's Ramu project power was completed with the commencement of continuous 24-hour power generation and supply into Tari, a major town located approximately 50 kilometers northeast of the Hides gas field. This project comprised an upgrade of PNG Power's existing power plant in Tari with assistance from Oil Search and the signing of an agreement for Oil Search to provide fuel for the plant from its Hides GTE plant. The Ramu Power project is a long-term, multi-phased project. Potential future phases which Oil Search is presently evaluating include the construction of several new transmission lines and up to 100 megawatts of additional electricity generation capacity, which, over the next decade, could provide up to 3 million people and businesses in PNG with access to reliable, affordable power for the first time. According to Oil Search Managing Director Peter Botten, Oil Search is in a strong position to manage and build its business through a sustained period of subdued oil and gas prices. The core oil and gas business is highly profitable at prevailing prices, as are the future LNG expansion and development opportunities within Oil Search's portfolio. The company also has a strong balance sheet which, combined with healthy cash flows, tight cost control and investment discipline, will continue to support the exploration, appraisal and development program over the next few years. Welcome back to Resource PNG. Simberi Mine is located on the northernmost island in the Tabar group of islands in New Island province. The mine, now operated by St. Barbara, continues to contribute to the economy of the country. Recently, the Mineral Resource Authority took the lead in revising the Simberi Mine project Memorandum of Agreement. Under the revised MOA, a number of infrastructure projects have been identified to be developed. These projects are aimed at enriching the lives of those affected by the operations of Simberi. A number of infrastructure projects have been earmarked for development under the revised Simberi Mine Project Memorandum of Agreement. The two major projects in this line of initiatives are the construction of the Simberi Business Centre at Maragon on Simberi Island and the Polytechnic and Industrial Training Institute at Fisoa. The others are the upgrading of the Simberi Ring Road, construction of the Central New Island Chamber at Konos, construction of a police holding cell at Mapua, and development of Simberi Communal Water Supply and Sanitation System for Simberi Island. These projects are the national government's undertaking under the revised MOA and are expected to be delivered between 2015 and 2018. The beneficiaries are Central New Island Local Level Government in Namatanai and Tikana Local Level Government in Kavieng District. The Mineral Resources Authority's project coordinator for the Simberi project, Wesley Doria, told a stakeholder update forum recently at Fitzwheels Lodge just outside Kavieng that work had already begun on some of the projects. Development of infrastructure for the Simberi Business Centre at Maragon, including survey, feasibility studies and physical planning, has already begun. And stakeholders of the Simberi Mine project applauded the national government for establishing these projects and bringing services to communities in the districts and LLGs. Work has already commenced for the establishment of a Polytechnic and Industrial Training Institute to be established at Fisoa in the Tikana Local Level Government, New Island Province. This development follows a land handover ceremony between the Kavieng Catholic Diocese and the state recently, where land was given to the state by the church to construct this institution. The ceremony was dominated by traditional sing-sings and customary rituals featuring the provincial symbol, Malagan, involved the state, the Catholic Church, Simberi Mine landowners, Fisoa community and the New Island provincial government.
Local charm na biblot di Wailan.
This is one of the national government's commitment in the revised Simberi Mining Project MOA and will be implemented under the public-private partnership concept. The national government will be responsible for the development and construction of the infrastructure and the curriculum.
Lo site lo national government underneath lo vision 2050. National government he got one big ting lo. Improving human development index lo country he come inside lo top 50 lo place ground. Meaning you may come up in school. Now you may come up in all housing lo look out in lifestyle na living lo man merry lo place.
The institution will then be transferred to the Catholic Church to operate. KVN Catholic Diocese Bishop Ambrose Kyapseni urged all stakeholders of the institution to take responsibility in ensuring that the institution is sustained and well kept. He said this was because the future well-being and security of the children of New Ireland Province would be realized through this establishment.
Kasol milak appeal long you bla online long here long pisowa. Why you look up? Good long all the stuff all institutions start long here now. We like by you play top and place from me plan. Because of picking in from me plan by go long end. By school long end. Now accept them all some responsibility. You play elect talk all some. When something you come up from the school, we play like straight him. Hurry up. We play like pass him all man who start elect back up in this school. This school by come up good.
You're watching Resource PNG. Now it's time to take a look at what's been happening within the industry.
The statement says power rationing has already commenced in Tabubil and Kiunga. The mine will remain operational until essential supplies such as fuel and food run out. Other coping measure the company is taking is in downsizing its employee numbers. This will begin with what they call non-essential personnel and will continue until only a skeleton crew remains. They say this downsizing will affect 30% of expatriate staff and 15% of local staff. The Western Provincial Government and the PNG government budget depend heavily on the mine's dividends and the revenue from the taxes that it generates. Low water levels was one of the reasons for the company losing a significant amount of profit last year when they were only able to make $17 million compared to their 2012 profit of $472 million. In this statement, the company says the low water levels have affected the reliable shipping of copper to Port Moresby, which has created uncertainty around the mine's cash flow. The Western Provincial Governor arrived back from a trip to Fiji today, and his staff say his office will be commenting on this issue in the coming days. Due to the mine's significant contribution to the Western Province budget, OTML is in the process of working out an emergency response plan with the provincial administration. Apart from the media release, the company remains tight-lipped on any other information on this matter.
We are all disappointed that the weather has affected the closure of the mine, and that is not only going to affect government revenues, but it is going to affect the employment of many of our workers, especially Papua New Guinean workers who are working at the Elk-Antelope Mine, and the revenue going to the communities along the mine affected areas and the landowners within the mine area, and of course revenue to the provincial government as well. This comes about at the back of a drop in the global commodity prices on, of course, gold, copper, and all the other commodity prices have come down substantially over the last few 5 or 6 months. So this is affecting government revenue. But To mitigate that, what we are doing is basically lifting up our control on the expenditure, making sure that we don't overspend above the budget that was approved by Parliament.
The Polgara Children's Trust Fund was established back in 1995 after an agreement between the Special Mining Lease landowners and the Polgara Gold Mine developers Simberi Gold Limited. Out of that agreement, 8% of landowner loyalty was put into the trust fund as school fees subsidies for every child in the mining impact area of Enga Province. In the years between 2005 and 2013, the trust fund was mismanaged. Simberi Gold Limited, who is not a contributor to the trust fund but a signatory and one of the 6 trustees, has since refused to release funds into the trust account. The reasons being the recent mismanagement of funds and no proper audit in the trust fund. The mismanagement and refusal to release funds are now affecting thousands of school children in Polgara.
As a result, we see that other students attending institutions, colleges, primary and secondary schools across all over the world have been kicked out by the teachers.
After the matter was taken to court in 2013, the National Court ordered the appointment of new trustees. It also ordered an independent financial audit. To date, nothing has been done as auditors are yet to obtain financial information and payment vouchers from former trustees. The 2013 academic year was paid in full and used last year. However, no funds were released this year. The trust funds covers 50% of school fee subsidies, while parents pay the other 50%. And with no available funds, parents are now burdened to pay in full, which most of them cannot afford, especially with their children attending tertiary institutions. While the National Court has also ordered for an annual general meeting for the trustees, nothing has happened. This has raised more concerns as parents are demanding answers to where the funds are and when they will be released.
National Petroleum Company PNG, NPCP, says dividends from 2015 may be lower than expected. According to NPCP Managing Director Wapu Sonk, the lower dividends are reflective of current low oil prices. According to Industry News, the government paid a half-yearly dividend of 86.2 million kina and is due to hand over the second half of the 2015 dividends in the first quarter of 2016. Sonk said that the 415 million kina last year was a windfall for the state-run company and the government, and people should not expect that same level of revenue this year. NPCP is expected to finalize the purchase of Q Energy assets this year, which include a 5.5% interest in PDL3, a 14.8% stake in PRL9 and an 11% stake in PRL14. Sonk said it was in the process of formally transferring the licenses from Q Energy to NPCP. Operations at Hidden Valley in Morabit Province remain suspended following a death at the mine earlier this month. This is the second time operations at a mine operated by Newcrest has been suspended, the earlier incident being the forced shutdown of operations at Lihir Mine. The Hidden Valley Mine is a joint venture between Newcrest and Harmony Gold Mining Limited of South Africa. Harmony Gold is assessing how best to extract value from its Golpu copper and gold deposit in Papua New Guinea, which is not recognized in its share price. Its Chief Executive Officer Graham Briggs has told Business Day Live the company was aware that investors in the metals had different strategic requirements. He added that over and above dealing with aging, low-grade, deep-level mines in South Australia, Harmony's board is weighing various options around the Golpu deposit it shares with Australia's Newcrest Mining. And the Asian Development Bank says Pacific economies are expected to grow an average of 9.9% in 2015 as positive external flows outweigh the impacts of recent disasters. In its 2015 Pacific Mid-Year Review, Xian Bin Yao, Director General of ADB's Pacific Department, also warns that growth in the Pacific is expected to fall about 5% in 2016 as the one-off boost from the first full year of PNG's natural gas exports dissipates. The ADB expects growth outside of the mining and petroleum sectors to pick up in 2015, supported by increased public investments in energy and transport infrastructure, as well as new sports facilities, which should support recovery in the construction sector. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Resource PNG. If you want to contribute to this program, get in touch with us via email on resourcepng@mtv.com.pg. To view this edition again, log on to www.mtv.com.pg, where you will find a link to the Resource PNG page. Until the next time, pleasant viewing.